Review reaction to the Ballad of the Level Boost by Mad Season. Some of you may be watching this on YouTube. I've only watched about 5 or 10 minutes of this before as I was watching someone else watch it on stream. And I can already tell that it's a really good video. And somebody else a few days ago had asked me to watch it as well. And I hadn't watched it on stream because it is very long. So you'll have to forgive me for how long this content is. All right, let's get started. Again, it's about everything to do with boosts and all that, so the level boost, botting, all that sort of stuff. So be prepared to be angry.
Now, I know what you're thinking. You see the title, you see the video duration, and you're like, oh god, it's finally happened. Yeah. He's gone postal. No worries, I'm fine. Honestly, it's just a big change with the game, so naturally, it warrants a big video, that's all. So, as you may know, the level boost was announced for TBC Classic recently. There's been a lot of discussion surrounding it, and I wanted to weigh in myself here. I want to go on record here saying that I didn't want to make this video. I know that's like the biggest cliche on YouTube.
Nobody wants
really,
to make a 1 hour long video.
This is an unpleasant subject for me. The discussion surrounding it is very toxic. I know it's going to make a lot of people angry. And to that end, just keep in mind, it is my opinion, and it isn't meant to make anyone angry. Anyone who's a regular to the channel can probably guess that I'm against it. In general, I'm not a fan of cash shops. They do work and they make sense in some games, but I personally think that they don't in Classic, as I'll explain. But whatever the case is, I want to stress constructiveness in this video. I said that there...
Wait, did he say that people on Reddit are pissed off at him for this video, or they will be? People on Reddit pissed off about something? No, come on. What?
What? Are you saying hi? Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. As I was saying, I said that there's been a lot of discussion about it, but really, it's more just arguing and toxicity. It's hard to find a discussion where people are debating the points. It seems to me that people are more debating that they're 100% correct and the other party is 100% incorrect, which usually isn't the way the world works. Like, I guarantee that there's a certain percentage of people who just heard me say that I'm against the boost, so the switch has flipped on and they're thinking that anything and everything this guy could possibly say is irrelevant and incorrect. It literally doesn't matter what I could say. It could turn out that foregoing the level boost would lead to world peace and pure happiness for everyone on Earth. There would still be those who would reply, yeah, but that's not fair to those who don't have time to level. Stop being selfish, you nerd. Well, really, let's be honest here, that's not a discussion. I've invested what some would consider an unhealthy amount of time thinking about and researching this topic. In the past 3-ish weeks, I've been reading forums, talking one-on-one with Blizzard developers, streamers, YouTubers, players, the works. And if you truly care about the game as much as the guy who spent approximately 120 hours of his life making a 1-hour video about the recreation of a 15-year-old video game, you listen to my points just as much as I've listened to yours. So I just wanted to put it out here that the overall goal of this video is to have an actual discussion about a pretty major feature coming to TBC Classic. The biggest thing is to not take it personally. The goal of this video isn't even to necessarily...
Before we start, put ones in chat if you have absolutely no problem with the level 58 boost. I want to see how many people, no troll, don't troll, but how many people have absolutely no problem with the level 58 boost. So right now we have a few. Put 2s in chat if you do have a problem with the level 58 boost. Okay, so... Okay, well, 3 would be no opinion. But that would be like... Okay, so it seems we have a few more people that do have a problem with it. But there are people that don't have a problem with it now. Those of you that don't have a problem with it now, after we watch the video, remind me to ask you again. Okay, I want to see if you've changed your mind. So remember what you picked.
Really sway your opinion is to let you know exactly what you're getting with the level boost, because it's not just a level boost. It comes with many strings attached, and these strings have the potential to tear down core design pillars that make Classic World of Warcraft Classic World of Warcraft. Is it this world-ending thing? Of course not, but at the end of the day, this is a paid service in a game that didn't have it back then, that wasn't designed with it in mind, and that it will indeed have cascading effects, as I'll explain. So forgive me for the extra long intro, but I just wanted to front load it with all of this because, as I've said, it's been a rather nasty and sensitive subject. This year's BlizzCon revealed many details about the highly anticipated recreation of Blizzard's hit 2007 expansion to World of Warcraft, the Burning Crusade.
I just want to point something out here. Watch this. We're sitting here talking about the issue of bots. There's one actually stuck in this inn. This guy has been doing this for 10. Watch this. He's going to go back against the wall and then run here. He's been doing this since we started the video. Watch this. Back against the wall. Non-stop. He'll come back, does the exact same thing. Yeah, at least this one we know is not farming gold at the moment. Level 45, Shazarith. Here, let's report him for cheating. See if anything actually gets done. If I get an email showing that this guy was caught, I'll let you guys know. Look at him. Same thing over and over and over again. All right, back to the video. I'm watching the video and I'm watching this guy as well, and it's so stupid. All right, let's continue with the video.
The word of the day is changes. Video game re-releases are always tricky because there's a special balance that you want to hit in recreating the original game, but at the same time sticking true to what made it special. And as hard as that is, it's even harder for MMOs because you always have that multiplayer aspect. What other people do has an effect on your game.
This is going to take us probably an hour and a half or so to watch this video. Let's see if he's still here.
Gameplay, either directly or indirectly, so from the get-go, developers are in this dilemma. Many of us saw in Vanilla Classic the repercussions of staying too true to the original. The no changes method, in an attempt to preserve the original experience as much as possible, was sabotaged in some ways as they learned that recreating the game versus recreating the experience are two very different things. And you saw this in the form of world buffs, raid logging, and the general easy difficulty of raiding, to name just three. Back then, the idea of changes was unheard of. I always joke that people would freak out over their farts smelling different because that's what it seemed like, and the idea of a level boost would have sent the community into nuclear overdrive. But, as I've said, things have changed, and many big changes were announced in the Burning Crusade Classic, and overall, from what I can tell, the community has been quite receptive because we've all seen what the hands-off approach can bring. Arena tweaks, shared paladin seals, gated raids, and of course, the level boost, which brings me to the meat and potatoes of this video. At BlizzCon, it was announced that the classic Burning Crusade will have the level boost service, which is a paid service that will instantly bring one character of your choice to 58. It is limited to one use per account, and it is 58, not 70, which is of course the cap for the Burning Crusade. And you can only use it on the Burning Crusade Classic servers. The Classic Era realms, which are the permanent non-Fresh 60 servers, will not be available for this boost. And you can't use it on the new races, the Blood Elf and the Draenei. The reasoning for this, provided by Blizzard in their official FAQ, is there's this person who wants to play BC, but they don't want to level through the old world. They're not going to play unless this boost exists.
Well, fuck them then!
So because of these restrictions, and the overall climate of the community's receptiveness to changes has created two sides. The boosts are good for the game.
There's going to be people that won't level from fucking 60 to 70 as well. Let's give them a free boost so that they'll play too.
As they'll bring more people in who otherwise
See, I'm getting angry now already.
They're allowed to skip the hurdle of leveling. And the people against boosters who think about all of the bad that it'll bring. The boosters and the anti-boosters. And don't worry, we'll talk about all of the bad, but again, I said that I wanted this video to be constructive, so first I do want to talk about and acknowledge the good.
I had 2 bowls of
after
cereal.
all,
I'm not hungry.
That's what a discussion is. You don't just ignore and dismiss the opposing party's viewpoint, and I ask that you do the same for me when we get to the bad. I can see a couple of benefits with the boost. One is just what Blizzard has in the FAQ. It will absolutely bring in people who otherwise wouldn't play. And what's better for the health of a game than more people playing it?
I didn't punch the monitor, I threw a mouse through it.
It's the bandwagon effect.
I didn't punch it.
The more people play something, the better it looks. People see a packed Stormwind like this and they're like, dang, this game is popular. There must be something to it. It's one of the reasons why every couple months we see a new game just blast off into orbit. Fort Skin, Among Us, and the newest one, Valheim. These games are all great in their own right, but a big part of why they're successful is this bandwagon mentality. Look at everyone having fun. I want to do that. It's the reason why companies will pay the most popular streamers money to play their game on stream for a certain amount of time. It's a huge marketing strategy, and it works in the opposite direction as well. If hardly anyone plays a game, your first impression is that there must be something wrong with it, right? And the next point kind of goes hand in hand with point 1, is that it allows people to more easily play with their friends. Maybe it's not the grind that's the issue, it's doing the grind alone, so fast tracking to 58 solves that issue. So, that's the good, according to Blizzard in their official FAQ.
You get a 30% XP boost anyways, make them level.
The first point I'd like to bring up for the anti-boost is that I feel like this target audience that Blizzard set up doesn't match and is inconsistent with the restrictions that they currently have set up for the boost. And I have one short but simple question that I'd like for you to answer. If this were truly for this player who hasn't leveled yet and wants to play with their friends, why is it that those who already have level 58 characters are able to purchase it?
Really makes you think.
If your goal is to recreate the experience and bring in new players...
Wait a second, hold on. Is it only people that have an active account with a level 58 on it that can use the boost? Or I thought it was anyone that came back to the game. It's everyone, right? Oh, it should be that. No, hold on. Let me repeat. I don't think that's what he said. Oh, okay. So I misheard what he said. Why is it that those who already have a level 58 character are able to purchase it? Because you're gonna have people bitching that it's not fair. That's why. That's why.
Really makes you think.
If your goal is to recreate the experience and bring in new players, while at the same time not negatively impacting the game in a major way, anybody who already has a level 58 now on whatever server they plan on playing on has no need for a paid level boost. You would just have to lock out server transfers on these boosted characters, obviously, or else people would just bring one over to their realm. I understand that Blizzard is a business and they need to make money, but it doesn't need to be done at the expense of the game, which I'll be talking about throughout the course of this video. But back to my question, if your answer to it is, well, it wouldn't be fair to those who already have a 58 that they can't buy the boost, that means you're acknowledging that a paid level boost does give you an advantage.
It does.
If you really want to bring up the word fair, how's it fair that there are those who already leveled from 1 to 60 that now people can just pay to skip it? That doesn't seem very fair. And even putting that aside, if the boost does come out, there will be those who won't buy it because they just lack the disposable income. So why is it okay that you get to buy the boost if there will always be those who can? If sacrificing gameplay for convenience is an objectively superior game design, then why does Classic even exist in the first place? It's the textbook definition of the game adapting to the player instead of the player adapting to the game, which is one of the major reasons people cite for quitting Current in the first place. Hey, you can't argue the fact that the game became the giant that it is today and peaked in popularity because they kept this core design philosophy in mind. It was right around here is when the growth stopped and started taking a turn for the worse, and maybe coincidentally, this is when we first saw the major cap.
When did the boost first come into the game? They didn't have it in TBC. They didn't have it in Wrath. I don't believe. When did they actually have it? Was it Cataclysm? Mop? Was it that late? Wad? Miss? End of mop? End of miss? Okay. Okay, it wasn't in the first 3, and then suddenly when it was brought in, suddenly numbers started going down. That's not just because of the boost, obviously. That's because the game was shit.
Cash shop services, the race change, and the faction change. And not just that, but also the adoption of this backwards mentality that the game must adapt to the player. But I'm getting off topic here, back to the boost. I have a second question for you as well. Again, if the goal is the overall health in the game and to bring in as many players as possible, why even charge a fee for the level boost? If it were free, wouldn't that...
Yeah, why if you want to bring as many people in, why charge them a fee? Just let them have it.
bring in even more people? Well, then it would really be broken. May as well not even have the Eastern Kingdoms in Kalimdor at that point, because it's straight to the Outland for 90% of the player base. But somehow this arbitrary dollar amount makes it okay, which is...
Well, we know it's because of money. Like that was
a lot to some people and nothing to others. One of the main issues I have is that you're creating an in-game advantage based off of a real-life wealth disparity, and such is the issue with in-game cash shops since in-game cash shops have existed. And for my next point, although it is restricted now, how long is it until we see that maybe it's not one per account anymore? Maybe it takes you to 70 now instead of 58. I mean, if you skip 57 levels, why not 69? You know what, guys? BC Classic has been out for 6 months at this point. It's not that big of a deal. Why is this level boost still restricted? While we're at it, let's just bring out the race change and faction change early. Dang, these bots are a real big problem. I don't know how, but ever since TBC launched with the level boost, things got really bad. Surely being able to start from level 58 had no impact whatsoever on the massive botting problems the game has right now. I hope that Blizzard brings out the WoW token so players can buy gold from them instead of bots, because that always does a really good job at stopping botting, right? Current has 0 issues with bots. A big issue I have with the boost isn't necessary.
Wait, are those bots? Are those bots that are around Aspen?
So players can buy gold from them instead of bots.
This here?
Because that always does a really good job at stopping botting, right? Current has 0 issues with bots.
Look at that, they're running around in a circle, just, oh my god.
The big issue I have with the boost isn't necessarily even the boost itself, but rather what it'll eventually lead to. If you let your standards slip slowly but surely, I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw a WoW token in Classic at some point. Releasing the level boost gives tacit approval to put anything on the cash shop. Hey, the people want to buy things, so let's give it to them. You see this with their cloning method of moving from vanilla to BC. Without paying, you can choose to continue your character to BC, or move it to a Classic era server. But if you pay money, you can do both. Why does this cost money? Well, to make money of course, but more importantly, the more minor cash shop services you slip in slowly but surely, the more receptive people are to them. Like, just think about it. How do you implement cash shop services into a community that isn't very receptive to them? You slip them in, make them very minor, have these restrictions so you generate a certain amount of people who will do your work for you, and try to convince everyone that it's this minor thing. You slowly but surely increase them in their severity until you're at a point where you can buy anything. You may see that as a pretty pessimistic statement. I see it as just paying basic attention to the past 15 years. The level boost, WoW token, race change, faction change services didn't just magically appear in current World of Warcraft in some patch. They were gradually slipped in there one by one as people slowly let their guard down. And now we're at a point where the only thing you can't buy in the game is raid progression. And even that is a gray area because people will sell carries for gold, and obviously you can buy gold with the WoW token. Also, as a little side note, when searching for groups in current, I find it pretty funny that at least 50% of the listings are done by real-life money boosting services. I was curious, and I checked out one of the actual websites, and they have a section on why you should boost, and it's so funny that this TOS unfriendly paid service website's reasoning for boosting is remarkably similar to Blizzard's and the pro boosters' reasonings for bringing out the level boost. So why should you buy World of Warcraft boosting services? Come on, guys, the answer is simple. You'll save tons of your time and make the game more enjoyable. Let's face it, farming/leveling is a time-consuming and tedious activity. Since the early days of vanilla, players have dreaded spending countless hours doing the same things over and over to get pets, achievements, and mounts. Wait, achievements in vanilla? I call bullcorn. Here at Censored Website Name, we don't think it's the best way of playing the game. That's why we've started the Professional WoW Carry Company to give you more time to play the game how you want.
Jesus Christ.
This is just hilarious. So this isn't okay because you're paying some third-party website, but it is okay and apparently the best idea in the world, but only if you're paying Blizzard. That's just amazing to me. Okay, not okay. Okay, not okay. In fact, I think that would be a fun game. Just take excerpts out of Blizzard's FAQ and this website and show them to people. And have them
guess which one, yeah.
Them.
Guess which
Wait
one.
Wait a second here. I thought that if Blizzard sells you all of these services, that means websites like these don't exist. Why do they populate 50% of the listings in the group finder? Why are there so many YouTube videos of various gold farming bots in Shadowlands? I'm seeing a contradiction here. Can it be that saving the integrity of your game by compromising it yourself isn't as effective as people claim it to be? The bottom line is, the whole point of Classic was to go to a time before cash shops dominated the game. It's my personal theory that they thought that Classic would just be this minor thing that isn't worth monetizing. You see that with them only releasing like 10 servers at launch. Then, oh shit, the people who are fighting to the death that Classic is dumb and no one would actually play it were wrong. Who would have thought? And there are actually a ton of people who play it. There's a lot of money to be had here, but look, these guys hate cash shops. How do we sneak this in here? I know, let's just restrict it and use this new player as a straw man to see how receptive people are to it. One of the main issues I have with it is that they're using this poor, downtrodden new player as an excuse to bring out the boost, yet it's available for purchase by literally everyone.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the
new players?
And people either A, don't see that, or B, they're just willfully ignoring it because they want a 58 without putting in the time to get it. The slippery slope argument is overused, but it's overused for a reason. It's because it's true.
Yes.
I've been playing since March of 2005. I've been down this road before, and I know where it leads. I remember when they first released the Lil KT and Pandrin pets in the cash shop in Wrath, and players were worried that this will lead Blizzard down a path where players can pay for an advantage. We were told that would never happen, and look at it today. Hell, we were told that there would be no level boost in Classic just over a year ago. Gee, that lasted long. What, is TBC not Classic? I'm confused here. So when I'm told that, oh, it's only to 58, oh, it's only usable once, I have a pretty hard time believing it. I don't have a problem with Blizzard making money. They are a business. I just think that they make it in ways that are destructive now. They created the best MMO of all time, where it peaked in popularity with zero cash shop. In the context of a recreation of that game, these services have no place until they were originally introduced. For example, I wouldn't have a problem with the race change and faction change in Wrath because, after all, that's when they were released. I still don't care for them, but I don't have much room to talk there. Like, can we just acknowledge that World of Warcraft is the most monetized game of all time? Let's just take a look at the different payment models for games today. You have your typical upfront purchase. Typically this is $60 for a full retail release. Maybe later you have some DLC that you can buy at an additional cost. You also have the free-to-play games where there's no actual required cost to play them. Instead, they make their money through a cash shop. They range in severity. Some are purely cosmetic, and some give clear advantages over those who don't use it, commonly referred to as pay-to-win. And lastly, you have subscription-based games. Of course, these are commonly MMOs. A lot of the times the game is free, but you just pay a monthly subscription to keep playing it. World of Warcraft has all three. You pay for the expansions, you pay the sub fee obviously, and it has a pretty substantial cash shop where you can buy pretty much anything. Like I said, even raid progression due to the advent of carry runs.
Is there any other MMO that has all three? You pay for the subscription, you pay for expansions, and you pay for in-game shop? What are the... I think they all have in-game shop and expansions, right?
is current.
Elder Scrolls, that's another one. I've never played Final Fantasy. Do they? Like, that's...
Whatever. I used to complain about it, but people told me to just quit if I didn't like it. So I did, and guess what? I wasn't alone. But the whole reason why Classic exists is, again, to go back to a time before it dominated the game. And again, Blizzard saving the integrity of their game by compromising it themselves doesn't seem to work out very well. So at this point, you probably are calling me a pessimist. But again, I just call it paying attention for the past 15 years. You're treated based on how you've acted in the past, and I'm sorry, the history is there. So if you're getting heated at me for saying these things, just keep in mind that I wouldn't be saying them if Blizzard didn't do them in the first place. So the next time you go and try to convince people how minor the boost is and how restricted it is, take a look back at the past 15 years and ask yourself a question. Are you trying to convince other people, or are you trying to convince yourself? I'd next like to bring up the point that it's just paying to skip content. Leveling is such an important thing in MMOs, classic MMOs especially, and to be able to skip it even once has this butterfly effect that F's up so many other things. Now, before you finish your comment, I already know what you're saying. Leveling in Classic isn't a big deal because people pay mages to power level them anyways, which does happen. For those who don't know, there's something in Classic called power leveling, where basically you pay a mage to run you through a dungeon, and they just AoE everything while you sit at the entrance, AFK, and collect XP. It doesn't seem like a very healthy or natural way to level, so people use this as a reason to bring out the level boost, because we're not losing much, right? I'd like to address this first, because it seems to be one of the bigger reasons that the pro boost crowd pushes. I have two problems with this take. First is, power leveling is nowhere near as bad as a paid level boost. For starters, it still takes time and money. The people who power level are players who already have a main character on the server. Or
That's not true. The power levelers are often the bots, and then you're giving them back the gold, which then they're reselling on the website.
Those who buy gold, who should be actioned, by the way, because, you know, it's against the rules, and rules exist for...
Yes, there are players that do it. I have 2 level 60 mages on the same account on the same server.
Reason?
I don't... Anyways.
A new player, which is the target primary demographic for the level boost according to Blizzard, can't afford to pay someone to level them from 10 to 58. Thus, leveling remains to be an important thing that they must progress through, just like everyone else. Number 2 is that if we're in agreement that power leveling and the resulting emptier world and emptier leveling experience is such a big issue, why would we destroy any chance of restoring it by giving people the option of paying real-life money to skip it?
I'm not a bot,
It's a contradictory argument. There will always be people who dislike leveling, even if mage power leveling didn't exist. There will always be a fastest method, but even if everyone was naturally in the world, as there were in 04 to 07, there would still be those willing to pay to skip it.
That's exactly what a bot would say, I know.
They existed back then.
I know.
Because I played the game back then. However,
I mean, it's not true. I'm not a bot.
Back then because it wasn't designed around a level boost, and I'll provide many examples of why in this video. Leveling has become more of a minor thing in modern MMO design, but players who want that have modern MMOs to play. I thought the whole point was to go back to a time before the modern MMO. Some changes, such as the pre-nerf bosses for increased difficulty, I can understand. As players grow in skill and knowledge, you have to adapt to recreate that experience. But a level boost to me isn't adapting to anything. It's trading money for time for those who want something, but don't want to put in the...
People are asking for an update on our mage bot friend. I deliberately put the camera angle so you could see him running. You can see him there? He's still running, guys. We reported him, what, an hour ago? Half an hour ago? Half an hour ago, at least. He's still running, dude. He'll be doing this all day long. All day long he'll be doing this. But we reported him like an hour ago.
Time to get it. If you see dungeon power leveling as a big enough issue to use it to rationalize a paid boost, you're not interested in the betterment of the game. You're just interested in fast-tracking yourself because a paid boost doesn't solve the problem. It avoids it. Some people say that dungeon power leveling will be fixed since TBC introduced the AoE cap. Blizzard noticed how powerful AoE was back then, so they limited the total.
Introducing the Paladin for boosting.
Overall damage of several AoE abilities. I personally don't think that itself would fix it.
It's a
because
Paladin.
they missed a big one, and that's the Paladin's Consecrate.
Yeah.
I think that it would require further attention, such as an XP nerf when there's a high level disparity within the party.
We were talking about this. We talked about this like an hour ago when I was leveling, and I said they need to get rid of it. If you have just one person in your party that the mobs are gray to, everybody in the party gets 0 XP. That needs to be immediate. And I know people are going to be, what about ZG? You can still do ZG. That's fine. I understand. But these bots are boosting their own other bots by boosting them through RFC, SFK, Scarlet Monastery. Where do they go after Scarlet Monastery? Like Mordon or whatever, right? Like all of that boosting is suddenly eliminated. Now they have to force themselves to go out into the world to bot, and it's much easier to catch them because they're not just in some instance where players can't report them. Not that Blizzard is doing a fantastic job on bots that are reported in game anyways, right? I guarantee I could probably come back here tomorrow and this dude is still going to be doing the same thing over and over again. We said this an hour, 2 hours ago. If you have a character in your group that the mobs are gray to, nobody gets XP. And I get you're still going to be able to boost in Scarlet Monastery, in ZG. But that doesn't mean that you can't use this as one of the tools to help get rid of bots. And I said this an hour, 2 hours ago. It's not going to be one thing that gets rid of bots. It's going to be an accumulation of things that make it really hard for them to operate in the game. Anyways, we will continue.
It is already reduced, but clearly with the strategy of these dungeon runs, it's not enough. This would be another change, of which there are
Templar,
many
he got
with
caught
TBC
inside the
Classic
inn.
that would bring the game closer to what it was back then, not further away. My take is that...
Okay, so for those of you that are just joining, when we started watching this video, and the video was obviously about botting and boosting, the boost and stuff like that, as soon as he started talking about botting, I pointed out, I was watching this guy, and I'm like, I realized that we're watching a video about how bad botting and boosting is in the game, as a bot is actually stuck in the inn here. It hasn't figured out how to get out of this bloody inn, and it's been doing the same thing over and over again. Yes, I've reported him. I can't gank him because the guards will kill me before I can gank him. I'm only level 52. But this bot was actually stuck here as we were starting to watch a video. I will keep it updated. There's no way this bot's not still here. Dude, that's you? Sure it is. You're just running around aimlessly in the same path. You're one of those people that you see like running around the bank in Orgrimmar. They're just kind of wandering around aimlessly. Anyways, that's the deal with the bot. I will keep it the angle deliberately so that you can watch as the bot runs through it, so that you guys know that the bot is okay. You don't have to worry about it. I've got him targeted, so you'll see him run through. All right, you'll know he's okay. Nothing bad has happened to the bot.
And if one truly cares about the leveling and the old world, this is the route that you go down. I do think that some people overstate it, and they make it out like literally everyone dungeon power levels to 60. That's just not true. In fact, ever since the announcement of TBC Classic, natural world leveling has seen a resurgence. People are leveling characters in preparation for the Burning Crusade, which, spoiler alert, that's how the game was designed. And guess what? This all disappears as soon as you release the level boost. I just don't get the argument that leveling isn't a big deal because no one is out in the old world. So let's introduce a paid service that further reduces the amount of people in the old world. Can we all agree that a paid boost is the definition of rubbing salve on a tumor? If there's an issue with leveling, we should fix the leveling, not introduce a way to pay to skip it. That's the most destructive game design I've ever heard in my life. Like I said, the community at this point is open to changes, and if we truly care about the leveling experience in the game, we would address the disease rather than the symptoms. And not to stay on the same subject too much, this video is about paid boosts, not dungeon power leveling. I just have one final point here though, because again, this is the most common argument I see to bring in boosts. My last point is the fact that the two of them are just inherently different. Power leveling ultimately is a service. You're paying someone in-game currency to do something for you in-game. We see this all the time with people selling tanking services. Some industrious players noticed a shortage of tanks in the games, so they offer their tanking services and knowledge of a dungeon in exchange for gold. People will sell summons for gold to save time for others, and while these services themselves are up for debate, the fact that it's an exchange between players is a natural and healthy part of the economy. And while I do think that power leveling brings more bad than good, at least it's a service that you buy from another player. With
It's not
in-game
always
currency,
another player,
not
though.
swiping your
Let's
credit
be
card
honest.
and paying Blizzard to skip a core
We know
part
it's not
of the
always
classic
another player.
MMORPG genre. Fixing the leveling instead of neglecting it would do so much good for the game at the same time because it helps with another issue, and that's botting. Anyone who's played Classic before will tell you that one of its biggest problems is botting. They're everywhere, and whatever Blizzard has been doing for all of Classic has not been enough because they're
They haven't
pumping
done
an
shit.
absolutely ridiculous amount of gold into the economy. Everything is inflated, they fund third-party gold-selling websites. It's bad, and the level boost I believe will make it worse. Let me explain why. One of the puzzling things about bots people will often tell you is that they're so obvious. Gee, there sure are a lot of guildless hunters with gibberish names running around. Here's a pretty popular spot in Duskwood on my server. If you go here, usually you'll find a bot, and you can tell instantly. They repeat the same exact patterns, snap to enemies. So, if they're so obvious, then why are they also so plentiful? Well, I'll tell you one of the reasons at least. Because of power leveling, there aren't enough people out in the world to find and report them. I don't think it's a coincidence that when power leveling started to become a norm, is when the bots started.
It's not just that there's not enough people in the world to report them. It's that it takes so fucking long for Blizzard to actually do anything about it when you do report them. This guy's been going for about an hour now. And I guarantee you, you guys in chat, you're asking me, hey, just kill him. One reason, first of all, the guards would kill me if I did. But even if I could kill him, I wouldn't, because at least this bot is trapped inside of a house or inside of a building. He's not out in the world leveling. If I killed him, he'd just run back. He'd get inside the town somewhere and eventually get out. Here he's stuck. So that's one reason why I'm definitely not going to kill him.
Taking over, and bringing out a paid level boost doesn't bring more people out into the world, it takes them away. So now my idea of nerfing dungeon power leveling sounds a bit better because not only are you bringing people back into the world this way, but you're also recruiting more boots on the ground to actually...
If mobs are gray to anyone in the party, nobody gets XP. Solves the problem up until what level? What level can you start getting XP? Can you actually go into boost in ZG? What's the minimum level you'd be able to really start getting XP? Could you get summoned there? I guess would the bots start doing that, summoning people and
report them and ban them before they do any significant damage. I'm not saying you would catch every bot. There are bots that level through dungeons, but there are still a ton that level in the old world, and you'll find them if you just look. But none of this happens if the level boost comes out because it allows so many people to just skip past all of this. And if these people would otherwise not play if they were forced to level through the old world, what kind of gameplay experience are we creating here? Everyone just skips straight to Outland, the bots continue to run unchecked, and we don't fix the leveling, we ignore it. While we're on the subject of bots, let's tackle the more obvious issue. If you think that they're bad now, let's talk about what'll happen if you give...
Minimum entry level and maximum entry level would fix the problem. Yes, I agree. That should immediately ooga booga. So minimum to get into ZG is 50. So it would solve the boosting servers up until that level. That's fine. Worry about how to fix the ZG portion of it later. But there's no reason why you cannot add this. Yeah, and you know who would complain about it? People that buy boosts. The people that buy boosts are the ones that would complain about it. Or The people that are selling boosts or whatever, it's the same thing. I mean, ZG's a whole other story, but there's no reason why you need a level 60 in RFC to boost people, or in Shadowfang Keep, or I mean, I've boosted my own characters and other people in my guild in Shadowfang Keep. You guys have watched me do it on stream, but I would have absolutely no problem if they eliminated that from the game. Absolutely none. I mean, it just ruins the way the game's supposed to be played. Anyways.
Give everyone the ability to skip to level 58. At least right now, you still have to level up from 1 to the 50-ish range to be able to farm enough gold to significantly impact the community. A lot of them don't get caught, but a lot of them also do, I'm sure. I don't know exactly.
You remember
how
when
long
this
it
video
takes.
came out?
I suppose if you're unchecked, it might take about a week to level high enough. I'm sure it depends on the bot and its efficiency, give or take a couple days maybe. But that time spent leveling is time spent leveling, aka not farming gold.
Hold on. If you put minimum levels in dungeons, you won't be able to level up your professions or farm gold from lower dungeons unless you make it just while in party and not while soloing. Honestly, there's ways that you can farm stuff outside of instances anyways. I think that they should just eliminate it so that you don't get XP. I think they should just make it so that you don't get XP if you fall outside of that level range. And if there's somebody that's higher level than that instance, then the rest of the group doesn't get XP. Like if somebody wants to go in as a mage and farm Scarlet Monastery for whatever, silk or mage weave cloth or whatever they're farming for in there, I don't really have a problem with that. But the actual boosting of XP, I think it needs to go. And I have 3 mages, 3 level 60 mages. It would like, I've boosted people in my guild. I've boosted people outside of my guild, people that have paid me. But I would have no problem if they eliminated the ability to do that. They need to get rid of it. It's destroying the game.
Someone on Reddit actually...
I'm a hypocrite because I've done it, but it needs to they need to get rid of it. I haven't done it a lot. Like I boosted basically 2 people in my guild in Tyrants, and while I was doing that, I had other people that saw me doing it and offered me gold to boost them at the same time.
Did the math, which I'll derive from here because they actually made a mistake, but they were on the right track. Assuming 10,000 bots across the game, making 1 gold per hour.
Here's a comment. This one I've seen lots of times before. I'm going to read it out for people that are watching this video on YouTube. New TV says they need to add a system like in CSGO or Dota 2 to catch cheaters, botters, hackers, where trusted players are reviewing the bot reports. They also do that in what's the other MMO? The one that came out years ago. It's slipping my mind right now. Anyways, they have a system like that in that MMO. I would be okay with it. RuneScape, yes, thank you. Old school RuneScape, they do it. And apparently it works really well. Again, you have to know if these players are trustworthy. Like if you're giving players the ability to ban accounts because of botting, then there's an issue, because immediately you know somebody's going to take advantage of that and ban somebody. They're going to ban, it's going to be too tempting to ban a tank from another guild that is competing against you for world first or something like that. Like, you know, there's going to be an abuse of the system at some point. I think maybe what they should be able to do is be able to answer these reports to see if there's if something's a bot, and if it is, then click yes, this is a confirmed bot, and then all of the ones that are confirmed bots, because I mean, I can right click on this, on whoever, I can right click on this dude here and report him for botting. Like, and I'm sure people get false reports all the time, but at least if you had trusted players that went around and actually checked all the reports first and then forwarded the ones that they've confirmed that they are bots to somebody that is a trusted Blizzard employee, that they could then come in and actually just look over those bots instead of having to go through all of them, right? Because there are people that false report people all the time. Like, I can report this player for whatever language or something like that. Like, don't waste their time with that. Have trusted players come in where they can analyze the account, the actions of the bot, and confirm, yes, this does look like a bot, and then forward that on just to streamline the process. But whether Blizzard would do that, I don't know.
While leveling, if it takes each bot 200 hours to get to level 58, which I think is a fair estimate, that's 2 million gold and 2 million hours of botting. However, bringing in the boost, you're already
Hold
at
on,
gold farm bot status, and bots across the...
I want to go back to this.
Sure, it depends
I think
on
it's
the
an
bot and
important
its
point.
efficiency, give or take a couple days maybe. But that time spent leveling is time spent leveling, aka not farming gold. Someone on Reddit actually did the math, which I'll derive from here because they actually made a mistake, but they were on the right track. Assuming 10,000 bots across the game, making 1 gold per hour while leveling, if it takes each bot 200 hours to get to level 58, which I think is a fair estimate, that's 2 million gold and 2 million hours of botting.
Hold on, 10k bots, 1 gold per hour, times 200 hours, 2 million gold, from 2 million hours of botting. Okay. I'm with you.
However, bringing in the boost, you're already at gold farm bot status, and at this level, maybe you farm 100 gold per hour. So let's take that 200 hour investment. Now you've gone from 2 million gold to 200 million gold. But what's that I hear you say? The boost costs money? Well, yeah, they do, but again, using the same post.
How much are you
let's
making
assume
off this
gold sells-
200? Oh, geez. It's not even fit. How much is gold selling for right now? So he's doing it based on $15. It's only $15 per 1,000 gold? What? How much is gold selling for right now, guys? If it's 200 million gold and it's $15 per 1,000 gold, and you just sell that, oh my God.
For $15
So
per 1,000.
Whoops. Who was it earlier that was asking? Who was it that was asking earlier about the level 58 boost? Do I have a problem with it? And I said, we're going to watch a video later and you'll understand why it's such a big problem. So are you guys all following the math here? So he's saying now they're just going to pay money, real life money for the boost, get their bots up to level 58, and then instead of farming 2 million gold, they're going to be farming 200 million gold, and then selling that at $15 per 1,000. It's not even $15 right now, right? Isn't it a lot higher than $15 per 1,000 gold? Not that I know. Can somebody check? It's $30. So it's double whatever he says this is going to be. It's your Taco is saying 22, so it's higher. Okay, we'll say 1.5 times minimum.
Gold. So that's $30,000 from gold farmed from 1 to 58. And with boosts, this is 3 million, assuming that the price of the boosts are $40, which I think is also fair. That's a $400,000 investment, and you take that away from 3 million from the money earned from botting at 58, you're netting 2.6 million. It's 86 times more effective than leveling from scratch. Jeez, those goblins weren't kidding.
Time is money, friend.
And just so you know, I'm doing you a favor here and assuming that people will pay full retail price for the boost anyways, which won't happen. I won't speak too much of it, but there's a way that's been around for all of Vanilla Classic where people can basically get accounts for $4 a month.
Hello, Argentina. Hello, Argentina.
And just so you know, I'm doing you a favor here and assuming that people will pay full retail price for the boost anyways, which won't happen. I won't speak too much of it, but there's a way that's been around for all of Vanilla Classic where people can basically get accounts for $4 a month. And assuming that the boost is $40 still, it's actually around $8 using this method, which most assuredly will happen because it's been happening for the past 1.5 years. But regardless of all of that, there's no way that you can argue that starting off at level 58 doesn't give these bots an enormous head start. At least if they level, you do have time to catch them and stop them before they do any damage.
That's a good
At 58,
point.
it's straight into the Blackrock depths, or just 12 levels for some Outland bot farm. The response to this is usually, well, they won't be able to sell that much gold. Well, putting the argument that the defense against this is that bots will be able to farm so much gold that they won't know what to do with it aside, I can't help but feel we have a failure of understanding economics here. The more gold that's in the economy, the less it's worth. 200 million is a lot of gold until it is eventually injected into the economy. which it will slowly but surely because the purchase price will be driven down as it loses value, and sooner or later you're in a situation where 1,000 gold now is eventually worth 100 gold, then 10, then 1. Now you can farm your epic flying training by mining in Nagrand for a day because the ore sells for 50 gold a pop. You never have to worry about repairing or any of the other gold sinks developed to naturally keep the economy in check. It's just one example of probably 100 of why the game wasn't designed for a level boost, at least in the context.
Nobody's gotten banned. You guys are asking why people, how are accounts that buy gold not banned? Is it hard to detect proof? I've never heard of anyone getting banned for buying gold. I think when buying gold in WoW first became a thing, they used to threaten that they were going to ban accounts that bought gold, and then they never did. Because there's always the argument, well, I didn't know that they were it was a bot. They got to prove that you actually paid money for that gold, right? And then they just buy, you can get around it by just posting something to the auction house. So if you want 1,000 gold, you just post some crappy green to the auction house and say, well, it's not my fault somebody bought it off the auction house for 1,000 gold, right? Because the bot websites or the gold farming websites will actually give you the option to get your gold through the auction house. And then they'll ask you to post something on the auction house. I think you tell it what it is. It takes down your character name. The bot then goes into the game, does a search for these items, and then buys the one from your character. I think that's how it works. But there are ways to get around it. But yeah, I've never heard of anyone getting banned for buying gold. The main issue with banning buyers is that if you wanted to get someone banned, don't like very much, you can just buy gold for them and get them banned. This is true. You could do that too. I never even thought of that. Buy gold for the main tank of whatever guild name here and get them banned. Where can you get these bots? I can't tell you that, dude. Bruiser, I admitted earlier in game that I have in the past. Make sure to use Alodar's promo code. Alodar does not have a promo code for buying gold, okay? There's no promo code Alodar.
Of how botting has overrun
AlodarsGold.com does not exist.
Classic. A lot of people argue this point, saying that, oh, it's too late. The bots have already taken over, so the level boost making it worse won't make a difference. But this, again, gets into that same issue with power leveling. Why is it that your first response is to immediately give up? Classic is a game that's much more affected by the economy. Just look at vanilla. You can gear up a pretty decent character just through the auction house. You have things such as the Lionheart helmet, Edgemaster's handguards, Titanic leggings, Cloudkeepers. Consumes, I'm sure you know by now, play a huge role in vanilla rating, and this is still true for the Burning Crusade. Storm Herald, Lionheart Executioner, Spellcloth, and it's not just item availability on the auction house, but rather item availability elsewhere. In current, you can get gear from raiding on 4 difficulties, Mythic Plus, which are spammable infinitely, and to a lesser extent world quests, your order hall, PvP gear that's still effective in PvE. There are many more ways, often way more cost effective, to gear your character. And since all of the gear in current is basically the same, since it only has 4 secondary stats that are useful for every spec, really, who wants to pay hundreds of thousands of gold for an item when there exists 20 clones of it in other activities? In Classic BC, it's raiding or crafting, and PvP-oriented gear only from PvP. You have much more power in gearing up and buffing your character through gold compared to current, so it's all the more reason to treat it as delicately as possible. In this aspect, to me, the level boost is the equivalent of letting a bull loose in a china shop.
I know what you're thinking.
And not just with botting, by the way, but also with transmutes, which will serve as an indirect way of buying gold, but we'll discuss that later. For now, let's just stick on bots. So botting is a big problem. If they've been ineffective in controlling it for the past year and a half in vanilla, what makes you think that they'll magically be more effective in the Burning Crusade? I don't think I've heard the word bot once in this year's BlizzCon.
Not once.
But the boost has the potential to turn it from big to huge. and Blizzard will have to patch in a new zone for the Outland called Zimbabwe. I'm telling you right now, if this paid boost comes out and the players who use it aren't put under 10 times the amount of scrutiny as other players, this is exactly what'll happen. There are a lot of farms that you can do right from 58. You can even do them while naked, putting old world materials aside because they will still have value, unless they release the Profession Boost token. You have things such as BRD pickpocketing, to name just one. In fact, let's have a little exercise. Go in-game and do /who rogue Blackrock Depths, and tell me how many guildless rogues you see in there 24/7. Trust me, botters right now are just rubbing their hands looking at the paid boosts. Gee, thanks for saving me the trouble of leveling. We can get straight to it now. And let's be honest here, this issue goes beyond botting.
Oh, hey, dude. Why did I've never seen this type of wall jump before? What the fuck? Wait.
In general, cheaters, if the time investment for re-entry is short, are more likely to cheat. Yeah, getting banned would suck, but if you can just buy another 58 and get right back into it, it's not as big of a deal. Cheaters are bad enough, but now we're setting up an even more ideal environment for them.
That was not
Maybe it's
Alodar.
just me, but don't you think it's possible that we're going in the wrong direction here?
They've been fly hacking
Not a kingpin.
for a week now. I've been watching them for over a week, and I've reported them. And a week later, they're still here.
Okay, so this guy's talking about, like, I have reported bots before. I probably reported 40 of them. I've only ever gotten like 3 emails saying that, thank you for blah, blah, blah type of thing, meaning that they've reported it. I'm going to do a little exercise at the end of this. This dude here, for those of you that are just joining us, we started watching this video, and this bot, I noticed a couple minutes into the video, that I noticed that this was a bot. It just happened to be where I parked myself inside the inn, and this bot has been doing this over and over again. Now, I reported it at the start of the video, which was 56 minutes ago. I don't expect that this bot is going to be banned before the video's over, let's be honest. But what I'm wondering is if I record this after I finish the video and say, Blizzard, this bot has been whatever. If I tweet it, I wonder if I tweeted it and had a whole bunch of people like and retweet it, if this bot would be banned a lot fast. I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there. Anyways, we're watching the bot to make sure he's okay.
Maybe if Blizzard would have shown that they were capable of actually controlling botters, teleport hackers, speed hackers...
Wait, Crit Cobain, you were the one that was asking why I didn't like boosts, right, earlier? Are you starting to understand why I don't like the boosts? Again, we asked everybody at the beginning of the stream who had no problem with boosts to put 1, and then people that did have a problem. At the end of this, we're going to ask people again if they've changed their mind.
Buy hackers at a reasonable level, that would be one thing, but the simple truth is they didn't. Botting and cheating hasn't been addressed in several months, not one peep from BlizzCon, so how's the community supposed to have any level of confidence that this level boost won't take an already huge problem and amplify it 10 times over? Let's tackle the next obstacle. I've now realized that I've done this video out of order because this should have been one of the first things I mentioned. That's the fact that, doesn't it just seem unhealthy to you that in a game with 47 zones, that 90% of the player base is loaded into just 7 of them? Leveling serves as a barrier for more than just gold making. It's a way to spread players around the world. I thought that one of the biggest appeals of MMOs is that it's this online sprawling world where, no matter what time it is, someone is clearing through the crypts of Duskwood, or skulking through the jungles of the Stranglethorn Vale. Again, another reason why dungeon power leveling has hurt the game. Once more though, to solve this, we shouldn't introduce a way to skip it more effectively. We should fix it by actually fixing it. But again, the boost just completely destroys that, and everyone immediately goes through the dark portal. Some people say that because Draenei and Blood Elves are restricted, that this won't happen, which will be true in the pre-patch when they're released. There's going to be a ton of old world activity. I like to use ejaculation as an analogy, though.
Wait,
there's this initial burst of, activity, but then DR kicks in extremely quickly, and before you know it, you're shooting blanks, and the sperms are all...
Ejaculation as an analogy. I gotta listen to that again. What?
Stranglethorn Vale. Again, another reason why dungeon power leveling has hurt the game. Once more, though, to solve this...
Yeah, babe, hold on a moment. I'm on a DR from ejaculating. We're gonna have to try again later. Oh, God.
We shouldn't introduce a way to skip it more effectively. We should fix it by actually fixing it.
Here it comes.
But again, the boost just completely destroys that, and everyone immediately goes through the dark portal. Some people say that because Draenei and Blood Elves are restricted, that this won't happen, which will be true in the pre-patch when they're released.
The
There's
analogy.
going to be a ton of old world activity. I like to use ejaculation as an analogy, though. There's this initial burst of...
I like to use ejaculation as an analogy too. I would never get away with that with my girlfriend. Honey, let me use ejaculation here as an analogy.
activity. But then DR kicks in extremely quickly, and before you know it, you're shooting...
Babe, it's not you, it's me. DR kicked in.
blanks. The sperms are all paladins and shamans. And shortly after this, much like my sex life, the old world will die. And again, how long do you really think that these restrictions will stick? The old world is a part of BC. I don't know where people got this notion that just because BC comes out, that the old world suddenly doesn't exist, like it's vanished out of thin air. This is the world of Warcraft, not the world of Outland. And even putting the unhealthiness of 40 zones becoming ghost towns aside, this causes other issues with layering. If you thought that layering was bad in Vanilla Classic launch, wait until you see your entire server with boosts loaded directly into an expansion that's 1/10 the size of its predecessor. This part will happen regardless at launch, but the point I'm trying to make here is that having people in the old world actually leveling would help. By bringing out the paid boost, you're just adding on top of it. Outland, I wouldn't be surprised if on the higher population servers it reaches like 30 layers. No joke. Which is an issue for me because
invite to Asmon layer, yes.
Asmon layer now. On a serious note though, can I get an invite to Kazakh on layer 32 please? My next point is, what target audience are we really trying to get here? So again, Blizzard's reasoning behind it are these players who want to play with their friends, but they won't if they're forced to level through the old world. Again, leveling is an important thing in classic MMOs. Just because there are players who dislike it doesn't mean it's a bad thing that shouldn't be in the game. It's certainly become less important in the current game because more of the content is focused on that endgame. There are a ton of different things to do at endgame and current, sometimes too much in my opinion, and leveling is more of a side attraction at this point. I mean, look how fast you can do it with Pokemon pet battles.
If you hustle through questing through a starting zone, and then you knock out the rest through pet battles, you can get into Shadowlands in...
Can you get from level 1 to max level with pet battles in retail? You can? Jesus Christ.
In under 4 hours, and that's anybody. As long as you have a couple good max level pets, anyone can get out into Shadowlands in 4 hours.
Oh my god! WTB Gold, let me tell you a quick story about this dude. This guy is a good I didn't realize that was him talking. So he and I met at BlizzCon, and at BlizzCon, I was happy as shit to finally meet this guy in real life. When I first started streaming, this guy here, I posted a YouTube video. You can go to my YouTube channel and find it. It's still my highest viewed video. And it was a gold farming video that showed people how I was making so much money, because people on stream were like, dude, you need to make a video to show people how you're making so much gold. So I made a video that was a transmog gold farming video where I showed people that I was making around 35,000 gold a day at a time when the WoW token costs like 22,000. Like, I was making a fucking killing doing this. And I was farming green transmogs. For the most part, it was a lot of green transmogs, but the odd blue, purple would drop and stuff like that, and that would sell for a bunch more as well. But I was just farming like a shit ton. And I showed people the video. I posted the video on YouTube. It got a tremendous response at the beginning. It was going viral. It was like 40, 60,000 views. And then our dear friend Asmon, I'll mention this now because he and I get along. I think we get along very well now. But he didn't like the video. He didn't believe that my method worked, even though people watch me do it on stream over and over again. He didn't know who the fuck I was. He posted a video saying that my method was garbage and that I was being disingenuous. That's his opinion. That's fine. And we've since laughed about it. When we met at BlizzCon, we actually laughed about this whole drama between he and I. WTB Gold was basically the only guy that came and basically like stood beside me and said, no, what Alodar is doing here is actually accurate. He is making that much gold. WTB Gold, that's all he does on stream is teaches people how to make gold. That's all he does. But he was the only dude that stood up and backed me on it. And he even argued with Asmund over it. Because that's what Asmund used to be known as. That's why he's called Asmund Gold. He was a gold farmer that posted all these videos about how to make gold. And Asmund Gold was making videos that were like, 3, 4, 5,000 gold an hour. And I'm posting this video saying that you can make, X amount per hour in item value or whatever. And then I was making like 35,000 gold a day with like 2 hours worth of work. Anyways, this guy is a stand-up dude. I met him at BlizzCon, last BlizzCon, I think. And he came up to me and I gave him like a big hug. Anyways, I had to pause the video to let you know that if you don't know who this guy is and you like gold farming, go watch his stream. It's all retail, but he's a good dude.
If you hustle.
This is a little outdated as it's been nerfed. I think it's now closer to 8 to 12 hours. But damn, that's pretty good with never even having to enter combat. Clearly, leveling has turned from this major thing to a complete side attraction that may as well not even be in the game as far as I'm concerned. Start everybody at level 50.
Yeah,
so it's no surprise that
level 50. Start them at level
retail
60.
Are coming in, then looking at the old world and are like, "Fuck that." Button because it's more of a major thing that makes it even more damaging if you're able to skip it via a level boost. And that's the key point here. Current is built in a way that leveling is a side attraction. Let's just compare the endgame of Shadowlands to the Burning Crusade. In Shadowlands you have Torghast, the Ma, raids on 4 difficulties, mythics, world quests, PvP of course, your order hall along with its own currency system and renown system, story quests, achievement hunting, pet, transmog, and mount collecting, and I'm sure more that I'm missing. In the Burning Crusade, you have PvP, heroics, raids, and the attunement for the raids. That's it. So where am I getting with all of this? Well, where I'm getting at is that the boost is designed for modern MMO gaming, where leveling is more of a distraction. It was not designed for a game where leveling is a bigger chunk of that game's content because there isn't as much endgame to keep the players busy. Thus, you're letting people skip a huge part of the game in the context of the classic MMORPG, and you're sending a message that the game begins at the high levels, and the leveling is indeed this unimportant distraction that's meant to be skipped over.
What do you mean?
Let's just skip over the whole game. Let's just give everybody max level, max gear, and say, hey, congratulations, you won. Let's just allow people to skip through. I don't like the whole like raid progression shit and having to wait for gear. That annoys me actually more than leveling. So is there like a raid gear boost that I can buy? I'd like that. I actually prefer leveling to rating content over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to get one piece of gear. How about this? How about every time I finish a raid, I get all the best gear for my character out of that raid? But then let's just make it super easy. I finished Blackwing Lair. Okay, boom, I get all the best gear for my Warlock, all the tier 2 stuff, and I can move into AQ40, do an AQ40 raid later that afternoon. Oh, wait, we cleared AQ40, now I get all the best gear from AQ40 as well. Can we just jump to that, please?
Now we can finally play the game.
There are players who, because they find the leveling experience in current dull, maybe they think it's ridiculous that you can level to 50 in one day of pet battles, so they come to Classic instead to fill that void. And if the first thing they see is a paid level 58 boost, how's this player going to react? I know that many of you just refuse to believe it, but there are players who actually enjoy the leveling in Classic. People are already nostalgic of Classic's launch, even though it was only a year.
I've said this about every expansion that's come out probably in the last 10 years. I hate the fact that when I'm leveling, because I like to actually do the leveling, I hate that I'm running around and I don't ever see anyone else leveling. I fucking hate that. Like, the world seems dead, and then to me the game feels dead.
A year and a half ago, everyone seems to mention how awesome it was to see so many people leveling up. When the world is active like this, you feel like you're part of this big experience.
Exactly.
Working with others, competing against others. It feels like a game. Crazy, huh? And when you and your friends hit 60, you have this sense of accomplishment. And when you know that people can just pay for it, what's the point? With the level boost, your accomplishment is that you swiped a credit card, clicked a button, and generated a level 58 template. Whoa, what a journey. Someone better tell Joker his world record has been broken. Look how fast I can level. And what's more, if we're talking about this casual player, which again is the target demographic according to Blizzard, the casual player's game time is much more heavily favored in leveling. They don't raid nor PvP as much, so if they can't be bothered with the leveling, they may as well not even be bothered with the game, period. I'm all for bringing in more players for the health of the game, but the target demographic for the boost is so skewed and contradictory. It brings a negative element that everyone has to deal with, for a demographic that I predict won't even stick around anyways. The idea is that they want to buy the boost because leveling is too time consuming, or maybe it's too grindy or unfun. Well, those players are in for a surprise because if they can't level from 1 to 58, how in the F are they even going to finish the attunement to these raids in the Burning Crusade?
Exactly.
The attunement for BC is absolutely huge. If we're talking pre-nerf here, to attune to the Black Temple, you have to attune to Mount Hyjal, and to attune to Mount Hyjal, you have to attune to Serpent Shrine and Tempest Keep. To attune to the Tempest Keep, you have to complete a lengthy quest chain that requires you to clear through 4 heroic dungeons of 4 factions, but to zone into the heroic dungeons, you have to grind these 4 factions to Revered, and to zone into Serpent Shrine, you need to attune to Karazhan, and to attune to Karazhan, you have to complete another lengthy quest chain. You know what I mean? Remember, they also nerfed leveling a little bit in BC. Each level requires about 15% less experience compared to
I thought it
vanilla,
was 30.
so I think the 1 to 58
less.
grind is comparable to attuning in BC. Honestly, leveling is probably more time consuming, but I think it's in the same league, and even putting that aside, the raids in BC might be pretty damn tough. It was confirmed that we're getting the pre-nerf versions of these bosses, which went unkilled by like 99% of the player base back then. This demands even more knowledge, and even more time in building your character properly, understanding each boss fight and its mechanics. And furthermore, especially in the context of re-releases, we all agree that Classic's worst enemy is stagnation, right? Eventually you will, quote, complete the game and run out of stuff to do. It's unique in the fact that it's an MMO with a planned end. At least that's what everybody's been telling me for the past 2 years. So why now is it suddenly okay to start paying to skip content and move people along more quickly to that finish line? If you're rationalizing a level boost because it takes a lot of time for someone, you're directly developing against one of the biggest weaknesses of your game. It'll cause players to finish the game faster, and therefore it will stagnate faster than it otherwise would have if the level boost wasn't part of the design. If someone won't play TBC Classic because they don't have enough time to level or they think it's too grindy, a level boost just delays the inevitable because other very basic things in BC are extremely time consuming and grindy. So I ask again, who's this boost for? For people to just level up to 70 and then quit once they hit the attunement? Your response might be that, well, what's the problem then if they're just gonna quit? Surely that doesn't affect you, does it? Well, no, it doesn't, but all of this other stuff in this video does. So I answer your question with another question. If nothing is gained but money for Blizzard, then why does it exist? It only brings the bad stuff in that case. But maybe the problem isn't starting from scratch. Maybe the problem is starting from scratch behind everyone else. Maybe the reason why people want to skip leveling is so they can just get in there and play with their friends, which after all is the whole point of multiplayer games. Of course, grinds are always more fun with buddies, right? I get the question, is it too late to start Classic all the time? Because, understandably
I get that
it
all the
sucks to
time.
pick up the game when everyone is level 60 and all geared out. People don't want to start behind and level from 1. This is an issue I can get behind, but first, can we just acknowledge that this was the case back then? We didn't get a paid boost, and I don't know, it seemed to work out pretty well for them, don't you think? Starting from behind is an unavoidable downside of MMOs, since MMOs have existed, and if it were really as big of a problem as people are making it out to be, why is it that in current, with its many different ways to catch up, such as these new loot islands, or scaled up gear from every other activity, or I don't know, level boosts that it still to this day has struggles keeping players subscribed.
As soon as he started down here, I was like, he's going to mention the point where subscription levels like collapse very soon after an expansion. I knew he was gonna hit that. He nails this.
From every other activity, or I don't know, level boosts that it still to this day has struggles keeping players subscribed. Throughout all of this, it still has retention issues. They hide their sub numbers, obviously, and redefined what's...
You know what happens? People come back, they pay for the level boost, they play the expansion for like a month or two, and then quit. So they paid for the expansion, they paid for like 2 months worth of service, and they paid for the level boost.
Success means for them, but the consistent server merges speak pretty loudly, I think. When you allow people to skip this hurdle, you're gaining a player base with a high turnover rate because they're not as invested into their characters. If you keep this hurdle, the players you gain, although fewer, will have more of a chance to stick because of the time and effort required to get on the same footing as everyone else, and this includes not only gearing, but also leveling, especially in the context of Classic. It's how they built their player base in the first place. It's short-term gain versus long-term gain. Again, referencing here that I feel like Blizzard makes money in ways that are destructive to their games these days. But as I said, it is something that comes up a lot, and I can always get behind the idea of making it easier to play with friends because that just amplifies the experience many times over. So for the sake of constructiveness, I offer a healthier solution. Fresh PC servers are such a huge request that I'm very surprised that they confirmed that they will not be out at launch due to the aforementioned botting issue.
Okay, we already talked about this earlier, so I'm going to pause the video here. We're going to go back to where he starts talking about this. The idea of fresh TBC and fresh Classic servers. Let's skip fresh Classic. Fresh TBC. From what I've been told from people that actually know people at Blizzard, around 40% of people, when all those surveys went out, remember the whole survey fiasco where they were asking people, would you like to play on fresh servers? Oh man, there's a picture I wish I could show people. There's a picture of me with Brian Birmingham with Lazanta. There's somebody else in the picture. I don't know that they don't want it shown. Just privacy issues. Anyways, Lazanta, myself, and Brian Birmingham. We sat and chatted. Brian Birmingham, if you guys don't know, he's the engineer that's always on stage talking, right? And he's always talking about how they had to engineer Classic, and now he's going on about how they had to engineer. He's like the head engineer for Classic World of Warcraft. Anyways, he asked me how we wanted to transition into TBC. He asked us at the last live BlizzCon. So this is BlizzCon 2019. And as soon as he asked me, I said, "Oh, you're confirming that there's going to be a TBC?" And he's like, "No, I didn't." And I'm like, "Yes, you did. You just asked me how we want to transition." He was like, "Well, theoretically, if we were to do it." And I'm like, No. So it was kind of like a little ha-ha moment, right? But he asked me, and I said, "I want there to be fresh servers." And he looked at me with a smile on his face, like, "Really? Why?" And I told him the economy's shit. You've got issues with bots. I want a fresh start. I don't want to go into TBC where there's people with hundreds of thousands of hold on. I don't want there to be thousands of people with hundreds of thousands of gold in the game. Like, that's not my idea of TBC. So anyways, this part here that he's talking about, the idea of fresh TBC, we went over this. The reason why they will not do fresh TBC at the beginning is because when they release those surveys, something along the lines of 40% of people that replied said that they would prefer to play on a fresh TBC server than continue on to play. That meant they didn't get to take out their character and transfer over. They started fresh from level 1. Such a high number of people that were saying, I would leave my server to go play on one of these private servers. Whoops, shit! I just accidentally exited the game. I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. Let me go back in because I want to make a point. So many people playing on these or transferring to these fresh servers would mean that your regular servers that were like medium pop servers would suddenly have like nobody on them. So let me go into the realms list. So all these ones that are like medium pop servers, if you had 40% of the people that said, fuck this server, I'm going to this fresh server instead, imagine what would happen to the population of all these servers. If 40% of people suddenly left and said, oh, I'm going to this TBC fresh server, it would destroy all these old servers, and that's why they won't do it. If it was only like 10-15% of people that said, yeah, I'd prefer to play fresh, you probably would have had a much higher chance of actually playing on the much higher chance of getting a fresh TBC server. They won't do it right off the bat, and that's why, because there's way too many people that were going to ditch their old server. Anyways, let's get back to the video. I'll see what he has to say, but that's why they won't do it.
So for the sake of constructiveness, I offer a healthier solution. Fresh PC servers are such a huge request that I'm very surprised that they confirmed that they will not be out at launch. Due to the aforementioned botting issue and Blizzard's failure to control
That's why people want to
leave.
leave.
Who won't play unless fresh servers come out. People want fresh PC, and although I'm not sure everyone is willing to reroll, if one of the reasons to bring out the boost is so people can play with friends, I think this is a way more healthy alternative to get new players into the game. Everyone starts off together, and you're knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone because so many people were let down by the news of no fresh. If not enough people playing is a big worry, you can balance that out with the people that you'd lose by removing the boost and gaining the ones who are going to quit if they don't release fresh PC.
Wait, does this number still exist? How hard is it to actually call Blizzard with a complaint? You ever try and look on the website for an actual phone number to talk to a live representative?
Which to me, based off of my channel feedback and the forums I've been reading, it's a substantial number. If you're one of these people, by all means, let your voices be heard. I have friends who loved everything they heard about TBC Classic. They loved the pre-nerf stuff, paladin seals, no world buffs, but they're not playing because they don't want to play in a broken economy. Some have over 100 days playtime. And that's really the crux of this video, is that there are more healthy ways of solving these issues that are used as reasons to bring in a paid service.
Officially endorsed gold. Oh no.
On to the next point, gold buying is also always an issue in MMOs. Well, how would you feel if I told you that the level boost is indirectly an officially endorsed way to buy gold? Transmute alts are very powerful in Classic. I used them to fund my rank 14 grind. For those who don't know, certain professions have these transmutes that you can only do once per day, or every few days to turn not so useful items into useful items, and because it's on a cooldown, they're worth money, and you see in trade chat all the time people selling their transmutes. They don't even have the material.
I have 4 tailors that I'm going to have going into TBC. 4 tailors for one purpose, transmutes. If you have like all these bots, I mean, oh my god.
Materials. The buyer provides that. They just buy the cooldown, that's it. BC, of course, also has these transmutes. Spellcloth, Primal Might, Primal Mooncloth, and more. To learn the recipe for these transmutes, though, you have to have a certain character level. The developers recognized back then if people could just train these professions right out the gate, it would break the fragile balance of these profession cooldowns. For the important vanilla stuff, it's level 35 to train up to 300 skill, and for the Burning Crusade stuff, it's 50 to train up to 375, which of course you're good to go with the paid 58 boost.
To learn the transmog, you only have to be level 50? For some reason I thought it was higher.
You do still need to level the actual profession, of course, but the bulk of the work is done. It's just another example of how the game wasn't designed for a paid level boost. It's a package deal that indirectly also brings in gold buying. So my question to you is, after playing Vanilla Classic for 1.5 years, do you honestly think that the community wouldn't exploit this to its fullest extent? Like, this is the Classic community we're talking about here. These are people who will raid log their characters for 6 days with world buffs, level an alt of the
I raid logged my character for 2 weeks once, okay?
Same class so they can actually play the game, but end up doing the same thing with that alt, funny enough. You have players running over a dozen accounts, camping each and every Black Lotus spawn in an entire zone. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with min-maxing and parsing itself. That's what you like, that's what you like, and you guys know my opinions on world buffs. But the point I'm making here is that the Classic community is the definition of min-max. They don't min-max, they are min-max, and will do anything and everything to eke out every last percentage of advantage that they can possibly get. So do you really think that they wouldn't buy new accounts solely to bypass the 1 per account restriction and just spam transmute alts? And this is assuming it's still $15 a month. Assuming that the boost is $40 or $8 still, that's $55 or $12 as an entry fee, and $15 or $4 a month depending on the player. Like I said earlier in the video, to some that's a lot, and to others it's nothing, which creates an unnatural discrepancy between players who have more or less disposable income. I already know that you're gonna say that people buy Gold in Classic anyways. Again, it's the same give up and fold mentality that people seem to be so attached to. Rules exist for a reason, and a failure in enforcement doesn't warrant an officially endorsed compromisation of the game across the board. Another point that people bring up is the fact that not everyone will buy the boost, or very few people will buy gold through the multiple account transmute alt method. Only a small percentage of players will.
Bullshit.
Well, first, I don't think that's necessarily true, and two, even if it is a small percentage, are we really still at the point where we can say that in a multiplayer game, a small percentage of the player base doing something doesn't have a massive effect on everyone else? Even putting all of the other points I made in this video aside, only a fraction of the population multi-boxed, and I don't know, they seem like it affected the game quite a bit. And botting as well. Like I said, they're a big issue, but are they the majority of the player base? Of course not. They're still a percentage of the player base, and do you really feel like bots haven't had an effect on the game?
Have a little guess how much they are, considering the vendor price is 2 gold? That much, you reckon? Do you want to lower your guess at all? Well, if you said 4 gold, 99 silver, you were right. A righteous orb for 5 gold. What?
I feel like when you see the real-time prices of items go up after a ban wave, warrants that they have a pretty big impact on your gameplay experience. When did we as players earn this great privilege to pay Blizzard to allow us to skip critical parts of their game? Leveling is character progression in the context of Classic, and paying for progression with real-life money compromises its integrity.
What's the topic? The topic is it's called the Ballad of the level boost. So he's arguing that introducing the level boost is terrible for the game. So don't buy it then. You not buying it isn't going to have an impact on the game. Cleansing Totem. It's everybody else that is, and everybody that's that's buying the gold is giving them a huge unfair advantage. For those, guys, something's happened to our bot. Something's happened to our bot. I'm worried. Like he's just sitting there now. I'm worried for our bot. We reported him. Did we get him in trouble? You can't. Why would I kill him, dude? Then he just res and get out of here. He's stuck in here right now. Why would I kill him? He just res outside and then he'd be loose again. He's stuck in here. Leave him here.
I see the whole thing is arbitrary anyways. The main reason Blizzard brought up is that there's this group of people who find leveling boring or too time consuming to be bothered with it. But you can say that with just about anything. The attunement is time consuming. All of my friends are attuned and I can't go into the same raids as them. Where's the boost for that? Farming gold is time consuming and grindy, so why should we be forced to do it? I already farmed to get my flying mount once. There's no reason to force me to do it again. Let's bring out the WoW token. Whew. Okay, that was a mouthful. Can you tell I care about the game yet? And hell, I think you too if you've made it this far. Whatever you think about all of this, if nothing else, I think we can agree that we do all care about it. We just see it in different ways. In summary, I do see the
Sorry about the
boost.
noise. It's
More players are
apartment
always
next
better,
to me is getting
but I believe it
renovated.
to be short term because
We almost got
it'll
through
lead
the whole
Classic
video.
down a road that caused players to quit the game to
Almost.
begin with. I think if you really believe that these restrictions will be in place forever, I got a bridge with your name on it that I'd like to sell to you. I think that there are much more healthy solutions for the problems that people are using as a reason to bring out the boost. If people skip past leveling anyways by paying for power leveling, nerf dungeon XP further when there's a higher level in the party or something to that effect. And if people don't want to start behind their friends, release fresh servers and give them the option to start together. This is a compromise. Of course, there will be those who aren't willing to reroll, but hey, it's an option. And there's already a huge demand for it, so why not? Like, not even one fresh BC server? Really? Not one?
You
These
can't
options
have just
revitalize the old
one.
world.
Could you imagine how insanely packed one fresh TBC server would be? If they came out with 4 fresh TBC servers for both NA and EU, those 4 fresh TBC servers would have a higher population than every other current server that's out there. All 4 of them would, by far.
Get
Never
more
mind
boots
one.
on the ground to report botters, and give friends a chance to play together, all at the same time, keeping classic World of Warcraft classic. The level boost gives friends a chance to play together more easily, as one doesn't need to reroll nor re-level, but at the same time, it causes irreversible damage to the game in my opinion. In my eyes, it creates more problems than it solves, and opens up the door to all manner of cash shop services. Now, will the boost be enough to make me stop playing? I don't think so. I'm still hyped for the game, and I'm one to give credit where credit is due. I think Blizzard has done a really good job with a lot of this other stuff, and I think it's going to be a rootin' tootin' good time all around. And hey, maybe that's what they're counting on. Unfortunately, I do feel like at the end of the day, it's all
Pissing in the
pissing in the
wind.
wind. Do I really think they'll change their minds? Probably not. I wish they would, and trust me, this is something I love to be wrong on, but probably not. And just to let you guys know, right now is your only shot, because once this thing is in the game, it's in there forever, because once people start buying it, they have the excuse of, well, gee guys, our hands are tied. We can't just let some people buy the boost and then just stop offering it. Come on, that wouldn't be fair. So rest assured, no matter how much damage this causes, once it's in, it's in. I think it would be a good move. Seriously, how much respect would Blizzard get if they announced that? You know what? This isn't classic. Leveling is character progression, and people wanted to skip it back then in the original release, and we didn't let that happen because it would have hurt the game back then, and it would hurt the game today. You see that big statue outside of your building? The one with the first of your 8 core values? The one that says gameplay first. I'm just saying that if you guys tasked me with creating one of the best games of all time, my first thought wouldn't be to offer you a paid service to skip over a major part of that game. And I find it pretty ironic that people are lauding one of the very features and the game must adapt to me mindset that caused them to quit Current in the first place. If nothing else, I just wanted it to be known that Mad Season Show does not approve. He thinks that it's a bad move that'll hurt the game. The cash shop is something I've been very vocal about in Current, so I feel like I had to share that with Classic as well. A lot of people will reply with "stop crying," but
Oh my
guess what?
God.
Classic.
Okay, hold on, we're pausing. Okay, so the booster is disappeared, okay? I don't know where he's gone, but he's disappeared. I'm pretty sure this here is an entire group of bots. They all logged in at the same time, and they all ran into this, over to this butcher at the same time. Let's see if they all move again at the same time. Like, all we've been doing is sitting here, and I've been catching like, there's been bots, like, just running around. The one that was trapped here, I'm pretty positive this is a bot. What are you buying here? Water, of course. What are we? Hunters. 5 hunters. Is that, they're all hunters? Hold on. So this is a no mage. Look at them all go. Look at them all go. Look at this. Look at this. It's not a multi-boxer. You can tell by the way they're running. They're doing the /follow command. A multi-boxer would have one lead guy and all the rest of them following him. That's a bot, dude. That's a bot. Hunters. Here's another one. You can tell it's not a multi-boxer. Look at this guy's. This guy's following behind. He's just following the bot program. Another thing that they could have gotten rid of to help hamper bots. Here's another one. There's another one right there. What's this? It's a warrior. He's level 60. That's not a bot. But look at them. They're all going to the same place. What does killing do to them, Borg? Unbelievable. We're just sitting here and watching bots appear. We're not even finished watching the video yet, and they're all over the place. The other guy logged out, though. Bot programs actually have it in them that if they don't see that they're moving, after a certain period of time, they'll log them out. The actual program itself. Let's go back a little bit.
So I feel like I had to share that with Classic as well. A lot of people will reply with "stop crying," but guess what? Classic wouldn't exist in the first place if people didn't, quote, stop crying about it.
You think you do, but you don't.
Great games are made from criticism, not from people who refuse to acknowledge that there's more than one side to a discussion. This video and the whole situation in particular has really left me feeling burnt out, so much so that I think I'm going to take a bit of a mini break here. Nothing too crazy, maybe just a week or two away from it because I do feel a bit drained. I mean, this is a 1-hour video of an unpleasant subject to me. Out of the 630 videos on my channel, this is the only one I didn't want to make. But I made it because I doubt very much that you guys are subscribed to me because I'm afraid to share my true feelings, regardless of how they're received. Classic has had its problems, like I said, but I mean, you can't argue the fact that it put 150 days into it since its release. Clearly, overall, I've had a great time with it. I've met a lot of like-minded people, and I'm lucky to say that I've made good friends through it. It's had a very positive effect on my life, and no matter what else I've said in this video, I want to give a big thank you to not only the devs, but you, the viewer, as well, for giving me your time, as you've done so many times. But you gotta look at it from my perspective. I've slowly watched, over the course of 16 years, one of my favorite hobbies of all time turn into something that I have little to no interest in. That itself is bad enough, but to see that happen twice, to see the start of it going down this old familiar road of, oh, I don't have enough time to level, so the game itself and everyone else playing it must adapt to me. That really sucks, and I feel pretty comfortable in saying that I think I speak for a lot of people on that one. Again, you may say it's not a big deal, that I'm over-exaggerating it. All I have to say to that is I have 16 years of experience under my belt, 16 years of history of the game becoming what it is, and you have the word of a company who's already gone back on their word multiple times. I just don't...
Sorry, hold on. Asmon's stream just did a poll. 75% said they wanted fresh servers. So that... The fuck? Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm pretty sure this is a bot anyways. I'm pretty sure this dude... Maybe... What level is he? Level 36. Whoops, he might not... He's not a bot. Okay. He was getting stuck in here as well. I thought he was a bot as well, but it doesn't... Maybe he's not. Anyways, we said earlier that survey, from what I understand, over 40% of people said that they wanted fresh servers. If Asmon's stream, which is probably a little bit more accurate than when I've done the survey, maybe because he has 60,000 people that watch him a day, or at a time, I should say. If his is saying that 75% of people would prefer to play on fresh servers, imagine what would happen to all the old servers. That's why they don't have fresh servers.
I don't see how you can look at this laundry list of issues and say, you know what? I'm okay with the old world being abandoned and 90% of the server going straight to an expansion that's 1/10 the size of its predecessor. I'm okay with botting going from bad to horrible. I'm okay with creating an ideal environment for cheaters. I'm okay with people being able to indirectly buy gold. I'm okay with Blizzard saying that the target audience for this boost are those who don't have a high-level character, yet the boost is available for purchase to everyone.
We'll do the poll
even
after
those
this.
With 60s already. I'm okay with creating in-game advantages based off of real-life wealth disparities. I'm okay with leveling remaining in a poor state, and instead of fixing it, Blizzard is allowing us to just pay to skip it. I'm okay with speeding players closer to stagnation in a game.
I'm going to create the poll. I understand people like to troll. Please try not to poll for this. Like let's try and see how accurate we can get it on this stream. Would you switch to a fresh TBC? Okay, it only allows me a certain number of characters, guys. So the poll is: would you switch to a fresh TBC server instead of current? Obviously, I mean instead of the current server. It wouldn't let me. Put in the whole question. So, all right, we'll start the poll. We'll view the results at the end of this video.
Whose worst enemy is stagnation.
Please try not to troll. I know some of you are going to anyways, just because, but.
And I'm okay to opening Pandora's box to all manner of cash shop services, because Blizzard now has approval to offer you services that you deem to be too time-consuming, grindy, or unfun, and that if Blizzard can say that, oh, people don't want to level, so we're giving them the ability to pay to skip it, and you support that, that means that they can say it for literally anything in the game, and it's all for this demographic of player who'll struggle to even play the game, because if they don't have time to level, they don't have time to do the time-consuming or grindy things that are required to even play BC at a very basic level. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I'm going to be honest.
Farewell for now, mortal.
That might be the best video I've watched on anything to do with Classic or TBC in 2 or 3 years. That might be the best video I've seen of all the content creators, including Mad Season, Mr. GM. Like, this might be the best video that I've seen in the last 3 or 4 years. Here's the results. So Asmon's, you said Asmon was 75%. Our poll, I think, is a little bit more accurate. 73% would go switch to play fresh servers. So do you understand when I say that all these other servers, here, log out, all these other servers, if you had 75% of people that would leave their current server to go play on a fresh server, what would happen to all these old servers that are medium pop, low pop, even the high pop server, if 75% of the population just said, fuck this, I'm out of here? And that is why we won't get fresh servers, guys. That's why. If it was only like 10, 15%, then they'd probably be like, yeah, you know what, let's have 1 fresh or 2 fresh servers. They might have actually done it, but because of the overwhelming amount of people that would switch, it would destroy these old servers, and that's why they won't do it right off the bat. So we'll do, hold on. So we're going to end that poll. Now, I asked you guys in game, hold on. I asked you guys at the beginning of the video, how many of you didn't care about the boosting that's going to be available? How many of you have changed your mind after watching this video? Now, there was only like 10 people, so I mean, I shouldn't have like 50 responses here. But how many of you guys have actually changed your mind and said, yeah, boosting is pretty fucking bad? Are any of you guys actually still around? I mean, we watched that video for almost an hour and... Ugi, you didn't even vote earlier, I don't think. Still a 3, you don't care? Here, hold on. Let me create a poll then. Let's create a poll. Another poll. See how many of you think boost is a bad idea. Not that ours is... Where the fuck's my poll? Manage poll. New poll. Is boosting... Is paid level 58 boost terrible for the game? Okay, new poll. Is paid level 58 boost terrible for the game? I'm not talking about paying people in the game for boosting your character up. I'm talking about actually using the in-game shop in order to pay for 58 boosts. That's what I'm talking about here, okay? So we're going to start this poll again. We're going to get rid of this one. Okay, we'll let that run for a little while. All right, we were on. I think that's probably enough time because I do want to end the recording on the video. So as it stands right now, those of you that are voting, it's yes is winning by quite a margin, and I can't even include my vote, so it would be 18-11 if I was able to. I think it's absolutely terrible that they're allowing this to the game. If you are arriving here late and you didn't watch the Mad Season video and you voted, please go back and watch this video. I'm gonna link it in stream. Hold on. I'm gonna link it in chat. You can watch the video. Again, I'll say it again. I think this is the best video that I've seen for TBC or for Classic WoW in the last 3 or 4 years. Honestly, I think it's that good. It's an amazing video that he put out. It sucks that it took so much out of him, and now he wants to take a break from the game. But yeah, fix the bot the paid boost makes the bot problem even worse. That's you can't fix the bot program if you enable the bots to. Can you watch it again? Sure, we just spent an hour and 46 minutes watching the video. Let's watch it again. No, we're not watching again. You just go watch the link. Trust me, it's a very, this is the best video Mad Season's put out. I love his content. This is the best video that in TBC or Classic. In fact, hold on. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to do me a favor. Okay, I'm going to link you my tweet that I just posted. If you agree that this video is extremely important, please go to the tweet, like and retweet it, please. Okay, please go to the tweet and like and retweet it. I'm not doing this for my own fame or anything like that. I honestly think this video is that important that people need to watch this. Please go to that link and like and retweet it. Thank God that you guys can't dislike tweets because there would be trolls. Anyways, you'd help if you had a Twitter account? Okay. Anyways, let's stop the recording there. If you like this video, you're watching on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up. Please also go to the original video. Watch it, give it a thumbs up as well. I'll post the link down below if you haven't seen it, but it's a very important video. Please spread it if you can. Thanks again for watching the video. If you want to talk to me about Classic content, you can do so on my stream at twitch.tv/Alodar. Thanks.